Welcome to the deep dive. You know that feeling, right? When you're really trying to push for something important, maybe growing a business or, I don't know, tackling some serious study, a big goal.
Mm.
And there's just this drag inside, this kind of resistance you can't quite pinpoint.
Yeah, that internal friction.
Exactly. And we tend to think, okay, the big problems are out there. The market's tough. Competition, maybe funding.
The obvious stuff.
Right. But the sources we've been digging into this week, they point to something, well, frankly, much bigger and definitely more complex. It seems the hardest fights are always the ones happening inside us.
That's absolutely right. I mean, we're kind of wired to deal with threats we can see. External challenges, you can measure them, define them.
Yeah, you can make a plan.
Exactly. But these internal things, the fear of actually failing or that little voice of self-doubt, maybe just plain old laziness creeping in, or ego.
Oh, ego is a big one?
Huge. Or even stuff like, past trauma holding you back without you even realizing it. These things are like invisible walls.
Walls we build ourselves.
Pretty much. Self-made prisons that stop us growing in our faith as leaders, professionally. It doesn't matter how good the opportunities outside are if these walls are up.
So what we're really doing today is diving deep into a kind of framework, right? One specifically aimed at taking down those internal walls. And these sources, exploring Prophet Muhammad's life and teachings, peace be upon him, they offer this model, almost like a user manual for managing our inner state.
And it's surprisingly timeless.
Isn't it? Like, it feels incredibly relevant for leaders, for anyone learning and trying to navigate today's world, even with all the chaos of AI and everything changing so fast.
Absolutely. So our mission really is to pull out the practical, actionable stuff from this prophetic guidance.
Yeah, structure it so people can actually use it to break through those internal limits.
And the core idea, the really sobering concept behind it all, and it takes some real self-honesty to face it, is that our biggest enemy, it's often the nafs, the lower self.
The nafs. Can we unpack that a bit? Because it's a term listeners might know, but it's more than just the self, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. It's crucial context. The sources aren't just saying you are your own enemy. When they talk about the nafs as the enemy, they're often pinpointing something specific. The nafs alamara bisu.
Okay, the self that commands. What? Evil, base desires.
Exactly. The part of us that defaults to the easy path, the path of least resistance. It's not who you are fundamentally. It's more like an internal current.
A default setting.
Kind of. It craves the quick fix, the immediate comfort, avoiding anything hard or painful.
Yeah.
So understanding the nafs not just as me, but as this powerful, demanding force within me, it's really step one.
Right, because then you can actually start to manage it, apply some discipline.
Precisely. That's the prerequisite for any real lasting change.
Okay, so we've identified this internal opponent, the nafs. Now, before we get into tactics, there's this foundational idea, right? A kind of law of transformation the sources lay out first.
Yeah, a fundamental principle. It really sets the stage for everything else.
And where does that come from?
It starts with this incredibly powerful statement about agency, right from the Qur'an. It's in chapter 13, verse 11.
Okay.
And it basically lays down this law of transformation. Indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves.
Wow. That's huge.
It is. It's not just advice. It's presented as a universal rule, like cause and effect for change.
So it's saying, if your situation, your external reality is difficult, maybe financially or in your career or even society-wide, you can't just wait for something outside to fix it. The change has to start inside you, inside the community.
It can't be outsourced.
Okay, let me push back on that a little just to play devil's advocate.
Yep.
Don't huge external events like economic crashes, political shifts, new tech, don't they force people to change sometimes?
That's a fair question, a really necessary one.
Is it really all internal when the outside world hits so hard?
Well, the way the sources seem to frame it is about the kind of change. External pressure. Sure, it forces adaptation. People react.
Right, you have to react.
But often that's temporary. It might even be driven by panic. This verse seems to be talking about meaningful, sustained change, the kind that truly elevates someone or a whole community for the long haul.
Ah. Okay, so not just reacting, but consciously transforming.
Exactly. It's not passive. It takes conscious internal resolve, action from within. If we just sit around waiting for the government or the market or pure luck to fix our internal issues, well, we're just victims of circumstance then, aren't we?
Right.
This verse sort of hands the remote control back to us. He says, you need to initiate a better internal state first if you want to create and sustain a better external reality.
That changes everything for the listener, for the learner. It flips the script.
Hmm.
You stop waiting for things outside to line up for the economy to magically improve, or the perfect mentor to just appear.
Yeah, you take ownership.
You're basically told, no, you need to actively cultivate the inner qualities, the discipline, the resilience, the clarity that success requires. So the question isn't, when will things get better? It becomes, how do I need to develop myself to be ready for the success I want? Which is way more empowering.
It really is. And it connects spiritual practice directly to practical results. Think about it. If a leader is internally inconsistent, just ruled by those whims of the nafs al-amara,
Their projects will be all over the place.
inevitably. But if you cultivate that internal resilience, that focus, that unwavering discipline, you're essentially building the psychological foundation needed not just to get success, but crucially, to keep it when it comes.
So the inner landscape determines the quality of the outer harvest.
Beautifully put. It's the foundation. It dictates how strong and how long-lasting the external structure will be.
Okay, so that Quranic verse, 13:111, sets the stage. Change starts within, which leads us perfectly into how this was actually done in practice. You mentioned a prophetic coaching approach.
Yes, and this is where it gets really psychologically insightful, I think.
How so?
The sources really emphasize that the prophet, peace be upon him, had this approach to mentorship that was, well, radically non-judgmental seems like the right word.
Okay.
He didn't shame people for their weaknesses. He seemed to recognize that personality traits, even the difficult ones, are just forms of energy, powerful energy.
So not about crushing those traits.
Exactly. The goal wasn't to eliminate the trait, which is probably possible anyway, without damaging the person. It was about channeling it, redirecting that inherent energy.
And coaching them to steer it differently.
Precisely. Guiding them so that what looked like a weakness, if you applied discipline to it, could actually become a powerful strength. It was about maximizing each person's unique potential.
Okay, that makes sense. So how did that redirection work specifically?
The sources give examples, right?
Okay.
Let's talk about Abu Dar, may Allah be pleased with him. His issue was impulsiveness.
Yes, impulsiveness, which, if you break it down, is often high energy combined with very little processing time before action.
Quick reactions, very quick. Sometimes without fully thinking through the consequences. And looking at the accounts, Abu Dar was known for being outspoken, quick to challenge things he saw as wrong.
Right.
There's a story from before he embraced Islam, where he apparently just rushed into the Kaaba to denounce the practices there, almost getting himself killed. Pure impulse.
Okay, so suppressing that energy would have silenced a core part of him.
Exactly. His moral force might have been lost. So the redirection wasn't about telling him, hey, slow down, be cautious.
Well, what is it then?
It seems it was more about applying discipline to where and how he aimed that quick energy.
Ah, the target and the method.
Right. Use that speed for good, for immediate, principled action. But make sure your intention is pure, and think about your approach. So he was guided towards roles needing that swift moral clarity, challenging corruption, championing the poor.
So the quickness stayed, but its application changed.
Exactly. It became constructive. His impulsiveness was kind of reframed, redirected into principled speed.
Okay, that's one example. What about Khalid ibn Walid? May Allah be pleased with him. The sources mention his core trait was aggression. That sounds even tougher to channel.
Definitely more volatile.
Yeah.
Aggression often comes from a deep drive, maybe a need for control, for dominance.
Competitive spirit, maybe?
Could be. And before Islam, that intensity apparently showed up as fierce opposition, sometimes even strategic recklessness, driven by emotion rather than calculation.
I think I remember reading about an incident after a battle where his zeal led to something controversial.
Yes, exactly. A tragic situation where he acted on assumption, not clear orders. Because of that unchecked intensity, it caused real problems.
Wow. That kind of drive, undisciplined, could really sabotage things. How was that force handled?
Well, again, it wasn't about destroying the trait. It was about forging it, disciplining it.
Like tempering steel.
That's a great analogy. Under prophetic guidance, that raw aggression was channeled into military genius, basically. Effective, disciplined leadership on the battlefield.
So it became resolve, determination.
Unyielding resolve? Yes. Strategic thinking. Keeping calm under the intense pressure of battle. He went from being this emotionally driven opponent to, well, they called him the sword of Allah, a disciplined force.
It's a powerful transformation.
It really is. And the lesson seems to be that intense energy, whatever form it takes, is a valuable resource. Don't waste it. Don't suppress it. Discipline it. Channel it. and it becomes a strategic advantage.
So the big lesson here for anyone listening is really clear. Your weakness isn't some fixed, shameful part of you. It's just raw potential that's maybe misdirected right now.
Exactly, misdirected energy.
If you feel impulsive, maybe that's potential for speed, for decisiveness. If you feel aggressive, maybe that's potential for incredible focus and resolve. And this prophetic framework teaches us to identify that raw trait and then, through disciplined effort, redirect it towards something positive, something productive. Okay, so we've got the principle change starts inside, and the method redirect, don't suppress. Now let's get really specific about what we're up against. The sources seem to boil down the complexity of the nafs into 4 main internal barriers, right?
Yeah. 4 common roadblocks that really stop people from reaching their potential. And the idea is for you, the listener, to try and identify which one resonates most.
All right, let's list them. Barrier number 1, fear of failure. The sources call this the ultimate action stopper.
And it's sneaky. It doesn't always look like obvious panic. In professional life, it often looks like perfectionism.
Ah, interesting. How so?
Well, you're so afraid of the tiny chance of failure or of not being perfect that you get stuck endlessly polishing things, overanalyzing.
Analysis paralysis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You spend so much energy worrying about the 1% negative outcome that you never actually take the first step, which of course guarantees zero progress.
Right, like endlessly tweaking a business plan logo instead of actually writing the plan.
Precisely that. It guarantees failure by preventing any action.
And the counter. The Sunnah offers courage. But what does courage mean here? It's not just being fearless, is it?
No, that's recklessness. Courage in this model seems to be about making the decision to move forward despite the fear.
Okay.
It's based on a rational understanding. The potential for growth, for learning, even from a setback, is more valuable than staying paralyzed by the risk. It's calculated, principled action in the face of fear.
Got it. Okay, barrier number 2. Lack of consistency. This feels very modern, the sustainability problem.
Oh, yeah. We all know that initial burst of motivation, right? New project, New Year's resolution.
Totally, the excitement phase.
But keeping it going for months, years, especially when the shine wears off and you're not seeing instant results, that's when the nafs whispers, hey, take it easy, this is hard.
The comfort trap. And this is where burnout happens. Trying huge efforts sporadically.
Often, yes. Big infrequent bursts don't build momentum. The counter here is discipline.
Discipline as the engine.
Exactly. Discipline is what keeps you going when the motivation inevitably dips. It's the regulator. It's built on that understanding we talked about, small, consistent, methodical steps.
The compound interest idea.
Yeah, compound interest on character. It's way more powerful than those occasional heroic but unsustainable efforts.
Okay, makes sense. Barrier 3, ego and arrogance. The sources say this is the ultimate growth blocker. Why ultimate?
Because ego basically seals you off. It's like putting up internal shutters, stopping useful information, especially corrective feedback, from getting in.
How does that look in practice?
Professionally. Maybe refusing advice from someone you think is below you,
Yeah.
getting defensive immediately when you get critical feedback, or, crucially, thinking you've already mastered something and don't need to learn anymore.
The I've arrived syndrome.
Exactly. And the moment a leader thinks they've arrived, their journey of growth just stops dead. They've terminated their own development.
And the counter the framework gives is humility.
Right.
But we need to define that carefully, right? It's not about being timid or insecure.
Not at all. True humility, as it seems to be modeled here, is strength-based. It's about having an open-door policy for growth, no matter where the lesson comes from.
Yeah.
It's recognizing knowledge is huge, and you can learn from anyone, the intern, the CEO, anyone. It's the strength to take constructive criticism on board as data, not as a personal attack.
Data for calibration, not condemnation.
Perfectly said. It's the confidence to say, I don't know this, can you teach me? That takes real strength.
It really does.
Okay, last one. Barrier 4. Negative self-talk.
Yeah.
The potential underminer.
This is that constant background noise in your head, isn't it? The I'm not good enough, I can't do this, it's too late for me, I don't deserve this.
Yeah, the inner critic working overtime.
It limits what you even try to achieve. It frames your capabilities negatively before reality even gets a chance to prove you wrong. It's like surrendering to the nafs's desire to keep you safe by keeping you small, protecting you from vulnerability by stopping you from trying.
Exactly.
And the counter here is hope. But again, this isn't just wishful thinking like, oh, I hope things work out.
Absolutely not. Hope in this context is active. It's a principled belief in your potential to overcome things and the potential for a positive outcome because you're taking action.
It sounds linked to trust, Tawakkul.
Deeply intertwined. It's that internal voice that counters the negativity, saying, I can tackle this challenge. I am capable of reaching my goals because I'm actively doing the work to prepare.
So hope becomes the engine for ambition.
Yes, an engine fueled by discipline and action, not just passive wishing.
All right, so we have the mindset. We've identified the 4 big barriers and their counters:
Yeah.
courage, discipline, humility, hope. Now, how do we actually do this? What are the practical tools the sources give for building these virtues day to day? Because willpower alone, well, runs out.
Right, willpower is finite.
Yeah.
The framework provides a whole toolkit, really. And it starts with something very practical, very daily.
Yeah.
The practice of istighfar and tawbah.
Seeking forgiveness and repentance. How does that work as a growth tool? Like a reset button.
Exactly like a reset button for the soul. Think
Right.
about it. If you're battling inconsistency, for example, you are going to slip up. It's inevitable.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
You'll miss the deadline, skip the gym, say the wrong thing.
Right. And if you don't have a way to reset cleanly after that slip up, what happens? Guilt creeps in. Then maybe shame. And that shame spiral often leads to just giving up completely.
The I blew it, might as well quit cycle.
Precisely. Istighfar and tawbah break that cycle. Tawbah specifically isn't just saying sorry. It involves sincere regret, stopping the error immediately, and making a firm commitment not to go back to it.
So it's structured. It's a conscious decision.
Very conscious. It's like wiping the slate clean psychologically and saying, okay, mistake made, learned, moving on now. It keeps the momentum going, stops you wallowing in guilt.
That's incredibly practical for just getting back on track immediately. Okay, what's another tool? Environment comes up, right? Suba.
Yes, companionship. Suba. The idea that your social environment is maybe the single biggest influence on your behavior and success.
Surround yourself with the right people.
Critically important. You need companions who actually model the virtues you're trying to build, discipline, humility, whatever it is. And crucially, people who practice accountability.
Accountability partner.
Exactly. We just absorb the energy and expectations of people around us. If your friends are okay with you being lazy, or they feed your ego, you'll likely stay stuck. But if they hold you to a higher standard, give you honest feedback even when it's tough and expect you to follow through, that compels you to stick to your discipline.
Right. Philosophically, that sounds great. But practically, cutting ties or even just creating distance from people who pull you down, especially if they're close friends or family, that's really hard.
It's incredibly hard. No doubt, the framework doesn't pretend it's easy, but it implicitly frames it as a necessary defense tactic against the nafs. Because the nafs loves validation, even negative validation sometimes. Good suba acts like an external check. It forces you to raise your game. That difficult separation. It's framed as a transaction. You're trading comfortable stagnation for challenging growth.
So choosing the right company is itself an act of discipline and courage.
Absolutely. Courage against social pressure or awkwardness.
Okay, another tool relates back to consistency. The idea of small, consistent deeds. Ahabul amal.
Yes. This is so powerful, and it lines up perfectly with modern habit formation science. The Prophet's teaching, peace be upon him, was that the deeds most beloved to God, and therefore most effective, are the small ones done consistently,
Even if they seem tiny.
especially if they seem tiny, because you can sustain them. That sustained minor effort consistently beats the big, heroic, infrequent effort every time.
Like the minimum effective dose idea.
Exactly. Reading just 10 minutes of something focused every single day. That builds the discipline muscle far better than trying to cram a 12-hour study session once a month. It shifts the focus from grand gestures to meticulous daily practice.
Right, makes it manageable. And the last tool mentioned is dua, supplication, seeking help.
Yes. Because even with the right mindset, the tools, the right company, that internal resistance, the nafs, is still strong. It's always there.
So willpower and tools aren't always enough?
But they often aren't, especially long-term. Dua is the act of reaching out for strength beyond yourself, specifically asking for istiqamah.
Istiqamah. Steadfastness. Consistency.
Exactly. Uprightness, consistency, the ability to stay on the path. It's acknowledging that maintaining discipline requires more than just your own fluctuating willpower or mood. It keeps you connected to a source of strength, prevents you relying only on motivation, which always fades.
So istiqamah is what keeps that bridge from the barrier to the breakthrough strong.
Precisely. It's the glue holding the whole effort together, powered by seeking help.
Okay, we have to pull this squarely into 2024 or 2025. The world is just wildly different now. The sources acknowledge that modern life throws up new challenges, right? Not just external ones, but new internal barriers too.
Absolutely. The core battles, Fear, ego, laziness, they're the same. But the battlefield has changed. It's digital now, largely.
How does that amplify the struggle?
Well, think about digital distraction. That constant pull of the phone, endless scrolling. It's like nafs Alamar's dream come true.
Yeah.
Instant, shallow gratification on tap.
Yeah, easy dopamine hits.
Right. And that constant diet of easy dopamine literally trains our brains away from the capacity for deep, focused, difficult work, the kind of work discipline requires.
So it directly attacks our consistency, barrier 2.
It creates a vicious cycle, doesn't it? Distraction leads to procrastination, which then needs more discipline to overcome, but the distracted brain has less of it available.
Ugh. And then there's the whole pressure cooker of the AI era itself.
That brings what some people are calling skill anxiety.
Skill anxiety.
Yeah, the pace of change is so fast. The fear that the skills you have today might be obsolete tomorrow because of AI or automation, it creates this intense pressure to constantly be learning, upgrading.
If you pause, you fall behind.
Exactly. And that feeds directly into fear. Barrier 1. Fear about your future, your relevance. Plus, you've got comparison culture, especially on social media.
Right, everyone looks perfect online.
Which can fuel ego and arrogance. Barrier 3. People feel they have to pretend they know everything, hide their learning process, which stops them from getting the feedback they actually need to improve.
Okay, so the modern world throws curveballs. How does this timeless framework help us anchor ourselves amidst all this chaos? The sources offer a kind of formula, don't they?
Yes, a crucial formula that balances stability with adaptation. It's a dual commitment.
Okay.
First, anchor yourself firmly in those timeless character traits. The inner work. Humility, courage, discipline, hope. These things don't become obsolete. They're your stable core no matter what the market does.
Right, character is the anchor. What's the second part?
Second, simultaneously, commit relentlessly to continuously upgrading skills. The outer work. Learning new tech, adapting to AI, being agile, pivoting when necessary.
So it's inner stability combined with outer flexibility.
Exactly. You need both. Think about it. Someone with amazing technical skills, but zero discipline or humility.
They'll likely crash and burn or get overtaken quickly.
Right. Because someone with that inner discipline and courage might learn the new AI tool faster, handle the inevitable setbacks better, adapt more effectively.
So the brilliant but arrogant or inconsistent person gets left behind.
That's the argument. The inner discipline isn't just nice to have. It's presented as the foundation needed for successful outer innovation, especially now. You need that character strength to handle the anxiety, the pressure, the constant learning curve.
The inner strength gives you the stability to navigate the outer chaos.
Precisely. Character provides the cognitive and emotional stability required to innovate effectively when everything around you is changing.
This all comes together beautifully in the final part of the sources, a really practical 4-step framework for growth. This is the how-to, translating all this wisdom into something you can start doing today.
Yeah, this moves us from the why and the what right into the how. From philosophy to a structured method.
Okay, step 1. Identify the barrier. This sounds like it needs brutal honesty.
Radical self-awareness, absolutely. You can't just say, I'm struggling. You have to name the specific enemy. Is it really fear of starting? That analysis paralysis?
Or is it ego? That resistance to feedback?
Or inconsistency? Starting strong but always fading? Or maybe, digging deeper, is there unresolved trauma that makes discipline feel unsafe or impossible?
So specificity is key. Like, not just I'm scared, but I avoid giving critical feedback because I fear the conflict it might create.
Exactly that level of precision. Naming it gives you power over it.
Okay, once you've named the specific barrier, step 2. Replace with opposite habit. This is the active part.
This is where you consciously, deliberately cultivate the counter virtue we talked about.
So if the barrier is ego,
you actively practice humility. Maybe commit to one small act of strength-based humility each day. Like intentionally ask for advice from someone you usually dismiss, or force yourself to sit with critical feedback for 24 hours before responding defensively.
You're building a new default response.
Exactly. Rewiring the pathway. If the barrier is fear of failure, commit to one small, calculated risk every day. Something that pushes the edge of your comfort zone.
Okay, that makes sense. Build the opposite muscle. Step 3. Use prophetic tools. This is about reinforcing the change.
Yes, fortifying the new habit. This is where you bring in the heavy artillery we discussed.
Like istighfar and tawbah.
Definitely. If you're fighting inconsistency, use that daily reset button relentlessly. Don't let small slips derail the whole effort.
And Suba. Good company.
Lean on him. Share your struggle. Ask for accountability. Use the anchors like prayer, fasting, dhikr, remembrance to find the strength for istiqamah, that steadfastness you need to keep going when the nafs pushes back hard.
So these tools support the habit change. And finally, step 4, commit to skill building. How does this fit in?
This anchors the internal change in the external world. You take that growing inner strength, the discipline, the humility, the courage, and you apply it outwardly.
Actually doing things.
Yes. Focus on deliberate practice in your field that requires consistency. Engage in continuous learning that demands humility. And eventually, teach others what you're learning. That overcomes ego and really cements your own understanding.
So the internal work fuels tangible, practical results.
Exactly. It ensures the breakthrough isn't just a feeling, it's visible, measurable progress.
The sources wrap this section up with a really neat mindset shift, viewing the process as moving from barrier right one bridge, right or a breakthrough.
Yeah, it's a great summary. The initial weakness or struggle is the barrier.
Okay.
The discipline practice steps 2 and 3. Using the tools, building the opposite habit, that's the bridge you have to actively construct, plank by plank.
It takes effort.
Conscious effort. And the breakthrough. That's when the consistent effort pays off. You see sustained success, you're innovating, your character's genuinely shifted. The initial weakness has actually been transformed into a strength. Hashtag DAC outro.
Wow, that is such a complete and honestly very actionable framework. If we were to boil down the absolute must-remember takeaways from this whole deep dive, what would they be? 3 key points, maybe.
Okay, 3 things. First, those personal barriers. Everyone has them. They feel huge, but they're not fixed points. They're changeable. They could actually be converted into your unique strengths if you apply disciplined redirection.
Like we saw with Abu Dar's impulsiveness becoming principled speed, or Khalid's aggression becoming resolve.
Exactly. Second point, real leadership, whether you're leading a global company or just your own life, it doesn't start with external stuff like titles or followers. It starts with the incredibly hard, absolutely necessary work of conquering your own self, your nafs.
Inner leadership first.
Always. And third, this prophetic model is like a cheat sheet for navigating our crazy modern world. Why? Because it shows that redirecting weakness into virtue, building that deep inner discipline, that's not just some nice spiritual extra. In this volatile AI age, that stable inner anchor is the essential foundation you need to successfully innovate and adapt on the outside. Inner discipline enables outer innovation.
Powerful takeaways. Okay, so now, the challenge to everyone listening. Don't just nod along. Turn this knowledge into action. We've got 3 specific reflection prompts based on the framework.
All right. First, grab a pen, open a doc, whatever. Write down your top 2 personal barriers. And be brutally honest and specific. Is it fear of looking foolish when speaking up? Is it the ego that makes delegation feel impossible? Name them clearly.
Okay, number 2.
Second, spend a few minutes journaling. How might this prophetic guidance, using that principle of redirection, advise you specifically? How could you channel those specific traits towards a virtue instead of just trying to squash them?
Don't suppress, redirect. Got it. And the third action.
Third, commit to one small daily action. That ahabul amal, the consistent tiny deed. Pick something designed specifically to weaken one of those barriers you identified.
Like what? Give an example.
Maybe it's setting a timer for just 5 minutes of focused work without distraction to build consistency. Or practicing one moment of deliberate humility, maybe just truly listening to feedback without interrupting. Or 5 minutes of dhikr, specifically asking for hope to counter negative self-talk. Small, but daily.
One small daily step. And here's a final thought to leave you with, something maybe a bit provocative. The real proof of your growth. It isn't going to be some huge dramatic leap you make in isolation. It's going to be in the sustained, meticulous, day-after-day practice. And the single best way to guarantee that consistency, activate the power of suhbah.
Good companionship.
Find someone trusted, someone who holds you accountable. Share your framework, share your daily commitment with them.
That accountability is key. Find your companion, pick your small action, and start building that bridge today from barrier towards breakthrough.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
Until next time, keep digging.